What's up, guys? Today we are working on the Poop Civic and we're installing a ton of suspension parts. So this is what we have right here. We have front lower control arms, rear subframe brace setup, rear lower control arms, adjustable rear upper control arms, and adjustable rear toe arms. Now, these two I originally bought for this car, but I need them for this car now. So we're gonna use them on this one. It's been a minute since I've recorded a video. I pretty much haven't recorded anything all summer, so I'm gonna catch you guys up really quick. This car, I fixed the AC. There was a bunch of things wrong with it. I'm not gonna get into it, but AC is fixed. Also blew a head gasket, replaced the head gasket, and after about 2 months, the head gasket blew again. So this has a blown head gasket, probably a warped head. That's gonna have to get worked out. This car, fixed the air conditioning. The compressor that I replaced last year actually exploded on the freeway. It was crazy. So I replaced that again, and the radio also broke in this thing. So I put an Android radio in, and I would have shown you guys that, but I really just, this is the car that I drive to work, and I just really needed to get a radio working for my long drive. And it's got a little backup cam, which is kind of neat. And oh yeah, I got a new plate because this car is getting nicer. And that's really it. So if you watch my transmission removal video, you'll know that the front lower control arm on the passenger side, there's a bolt seized in it. So I bought new lower control arms, and I'm gonna cut that bolt out and swap those in. We'll see if the driver's side is seized or like the inside bolts. I've never tried to undo those, so we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna take the wheels off and see if I can get those arms out. This one should hopefully come right out. I'm gonna include links for all of these parts in the description. So if you need any of this stuff, please buy it from my links. I am an eBay affiliate and an Amazon affiliate, and this helps fund my videos. So if you need this stuff, it doesn't cost you anything, or it doesn't cost you any extra to use my links to buy them. So I'll make sure I find you the cheapest price I can find on them, and I'll send those links in the description. All right, guys, 30 minutes in, and I got this guy out. I did have to undo the back of the control arm. I got to check out the bushing while I was back there, and it looks pretty good still, so I'm just gonna put that back in. And this is droopy, but it's pretty stuck. I got it out. Moving on to the next side. I know I'm gonna have to cut the next side out. All right, so I gotta get a bolt for the other side that I need to cut, which I know which bolt it is, but I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I can get the other bolts out of the other side before I run to the store in case I need to get more. I'm sure I'm gonna need to go back to the store for the back, but we're gonna do that separately. All right, so this is the reason that I had to do that. This bolt snapped, and that is the one that goes through back here. So I'm hoping there's enough in here still that we can get the rest of this out without drilling and tapping, but I might have to drill and tap. I have a buddy with a welder too, so I might take this to him and see if he can weld a nut on there for me to get this off the rest of the way. But I am going to measure this bolt from the other side and then put that side back together and then take this side apart. All right, so this side's done and everything is torqued, and it was torqued at load, so the bushings won't tear. The only thing not in is the end link. I can't fit the center bushings in just yet. The gap is too small, so we have to undo the other side, and we'll have to do both sides of the sway bar at the same time. So now I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting the other side apart. All right, so here's the back half. This ended up being stuck on here. So what I ended up having to do was cut it in half. This is the one that this is the bolt that I snapped, and it's so stuck in here that I cut this in half. I was able to hammer this side off, and then this side I hit with a hammer and twisted it to the left, and it actually spun the rest of the bolt out. So that worked out because this is all cut. I got a new one of these. I can reuse this and we're good to go. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the back. I'm gonna change out the lower control arms first. Underneath here, don't mind the ratchet strap holding up the gas tank. The gas tank straps are holding it up, but they're pretty rusty at the front, and I was a little nervous about them. They will be replaced along with the gas tank in a different video. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and swap out these lower control arms. I think the inside bolt has to be replaced for the brace that goes across there. So if those come out, we might be able to use them in a different spot if we end up breaking bolts. I do know the bolts that came with the strut brace. The bolts that came with the strut brace aren't even metric, so they're for sure the wrong bolts. So we are gonna have to go to the store, and I guess I'll keep you guys posted on that. But I'm gonna go ahead and start taking stuff off here and see what bolts we can get out and which ones we can't. All right, so we got the inside one. We got that bolt out. These two are both stuck. We're gonna have to cut both of them, which is pretty standard, unfortunately. Luckily, the bolt broke loose from the nut on the other side. So once I cut it, I should be able to back it out with vice grips pretty easily. It's just stuck in the bushing on both of those. So I don't know what's happening, but it's really hot out. And I think that's why this is happening, but the videos just keep stop recording. I'm not touching anything. They just stop over and over again. So I'm gonna try to time lapse stuff, but I don't know how that's gonna go for the rest of this video. I apologize. All right, so on this side, the two outside bolts, that one was stuck, but I rocked it back and forth and it eventually broke free. This one on this side was free. The one in the suspension was seized in the nut right here. So when I put the gun on this side and spun it, it snapped at the threads. And then on this side, the nut's welded. I just put my gun on there and broke the nut off. And so this came right out. So this side is easy. I just need one bolt for it. Yeah, the other side was kind of a pain, but I got that out. Now I just have to cut the suspension off of it. All right, so I guessed that for that tie bar, you need this bolt about 130 millimeters long instead of 80. I'm starting to think that you get away with as small as 110, but I just went to 5 stores and nobody had bolts long enough. I went to auto parts stores and hardware stores. I think the bolts they give you might be long enough. So you could technically snap the welded nut off the backside and then run these with one of the nuts they give you instead. I don't really feel super comfortable doing that, so I think I'm just gonna order the correct size. I just need to figure out what size I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt the subframe brace up. One thing too is this back piece is bolted to the front using these Allens, and you're supposed to put a screw in here too. One in here and one in here, but they only threaded one of the holes. I don't really know why. That must have just been like a quality control thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap this hole and put bolts in both of those. And then I'm gonna mock this up on the car. Another thing is they give you bolts with nuts for the backside, but all of the other bars that I saw on eBay actually had like brackets that went on the backside for reinforcement. This one doesn't have that, which is unfortunate. I know I said these weren't metric, but they are. They're M10 by 1.5. The original thread pitch is 1.25. So all of these bolts are metric. All right, I think it stopped recording again, but I got all these bolts in, and now we're gonna go ahead and mock this up. I'm gonna bolt it in place, except for these, obviously. All right, so these are almost long enough, but they're actually not even quite long enough. So the idea of snapping that bolt off the back and using these nuts with these bolts isn't gonna work. So back to square one. We're just gonna order some bolts. After measuring, I think 10 mils longer than this bolt should be fine, because this one does start to thread into the nut, just it wouldn't thread in enough for me to feel comfortable. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and order some. All right, starting to get pretty dark out. What I'm gonna do now is release the shock on this side to let the shock and the control arm come out, so I can get better access at cutting the control arm off the shock. It'll just be a little bit easier that way. Once again, I told it to record and it didn't, but I have this out here. So now I can cut this guy off on this side, and then I'm gonna call it a night. And we'll pick back up on this tomorrow when my new bolts are here for that. All right, I got my new bolts, so we can go ahead and put the tie bar in now. But before we do that, if you look right here, there's a little gap between the bottom of this and the subframe here, and I really don't think that should be there, so I'm gonna fill that with washers. So I'm gonna take this whole bar off and separate this piece from here and just hold it up against here so that it's flat, and then see how many washers I need to slide in here for it to fit flush. All right, so for me, 2 of these 3/8 hardened washers fits in there perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble everything and reinstall the subframe with the tie bar with these washers. All right, so that's installed now. The tie bar is not completely tight because I got to pull those bolts out a little bit to slide the control arms in. But we're gonna go ahead and lube up the control arms now, the control arm bushings, and then we can go ahead and install them. All right, so I got the control arms greased up and ready to go in. There's just a piece of bolt that I have to extract from that over there, and then we have to take this arm out the rest of the way. There's one bolt holding it in, and then we'll go ahead and install those control arms. All right, so I wanted to know if I was gonna need to buy a bunch of bolts or if I was gonna be good. So off camera, I went ahead and tried to loosen all of the bolts. I know these guys are gonna come out without issue, so at least they should. I didn't mess with those. This bolt, the head snapped off, but it was spinning on this side first. Same thing on the other side, the bolt snapped off. Underneath here, I was able to get all of these bolts loose. This one, you can see I pulled out most of the way. That one rounded off really bad, and I had to use a bolt extractor to get it out. So needless to say, man, this job has been an absolute nightmare, but it's going about how I expected it to. So, I mean, I guess it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue. We're gonna get these adjustable toe arms installed, these guys underneath there, because this is the easier part. All right, unfortunately, with this bolt here, I'm using the torch and some candle wax, and I can get like a half a turn out of it at a time with the pipe wrench. The vice grips can't grip it at all. So it's probably gonna take me a couple of hours to get this out. I'm just going to save you guys the time of watching. All right, quick update on this guy. I cannot get it out. I'm getting a really good grip on it, and it's not spinning even when I torch it with the MAP gas, so I probably need like acetylene. Rather than waste my time anymore, I'm just gonna cut this off and replace it with a nut. I really don't know what else to do at this point. This is definitely the worst experience I've ever had doing this, and I've had to do this on a lot of Civics. All right, so I cut this side and I went a little bit too far. And I cut into that. It should be okay for right now, just to hold together. But I'm gonna drive to my dad's house and have him weld that up, just to be safe. And then over here, this one came out actually really easily. I just used MAP gas on there with the candle like I did on the other side. Then I used the vice grips to get this piece out. And yeah, easy peasy, took like 5 minutes. I don't know why the other side gave me so much trouble. All right, now I just gotta take out the camber arm here. I just have to take out the toe arm underneath on this side, and then everything is removed. We just got to put the new stuff in. All right, everything's out. Now all that's left is the easy part, and that's just bolting in new stuff. In case you want to see how bad this stuff was, the control arms are kind of okay. Obviously the bolts were stuck in the bushings, but the bushings, at least on this part, are still okay-ish. They're pretty shot over here. But look at this, man. That's so bad. That's why I'm replacing this stuff. All right, before I install these last arms, these ones, and these guys over here, we're gonna lube up the threads so that they don't seize. They're probably gonna seize anyway. That's how these always go. I end up having to buy new sets. And then also the bushings. All right, my storage filled up, so I had to go empty it out. But while that was happening, I finished lubing the rest of these. Just so you guys know, I use a petroleum-based lube on the threads instead of an anti-seize. It just seems to work better for me, plus it's cheaper and I have a whole bunch of it. And then in these bushings, these are hard rubber bushings, so these don't get lubed up. These just have to be torqued under load. These ones, I use brake grease instead of polyurethane bushing grease, because polyurethane bushing grease can't be found locally. Doing my research, anything silicone based should be safe to use on polyurethane bushing, so I just use this brake grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these. I was able to match the length of these camber arms to the stock upper control arms, but the toe arms are slightly longer than the stock toe arms, and they're as short as they go. So I'm
I'm gonna have to kind of put the wheel on and eyeball it before I torque throw this down.
All right, so I got all the bolts to go in on that other side. One of them is cross-threaded and I had to run it in, unfortunately. I tried so hard to get it to line up, but it did not want to line up. So hopefully I never have to take it out. But now we're gonna do this side. It's almost dark out. I had an event that I had to go to that I just got back from. Yeah, we're gonna get this other side all wrapped up and then we can throw the wheels on, get the toe set, and we should be good to go. All right, I know it's dark, but everything is hooked up. All of the bolts are tightened under load, except for the inside toe bolt. I did have to flip the toe compensator arm over on the other side. I had it upside down. I thought that one bolt was cross-threaded, but it doesn't appear to be. I took the bolt out of it and the threads still look good on both sides. I think it just went in really tight for some reason. It goes in easy now, but yeah, so now we're gonna put the wheels on and I'm gonna try to eyeball the toe. All right, hopefully I remember to re-record this during the day, but we're all done. Got a little bit of toe out and I don't really feel like fixing it right now, so I'm gonna be lowering the car anyway. So we'll adjust it then. On this side, toe looks pretty good on this side actually, but yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, I thought I was gonna come out the next day and show you what everything looks like in the daylight, get a really good shot of it. I have a couple of pictures and I'll put those right here right now, but it's been quite a while and I got some more stuff done to the car, so I can't show it to you right now. But I've been driving with these cheap control arms for a year, and the only problem that I had with them was after driving through the winter, they did start to squeak and I had to take them out and grease all of the bushings again and put them back in. But the bushings are still in really good shape and they're still going strong. I think like the salt just kind of got in there from the snowy roads. Yeah, I mean, for the price, you can't go wrong. I definitely recommend these control arms. I'll put a link to them in the description. They do seem a little bit flimsy. I would probably recommend getting the control arms that are like the Skunk 2 replicas where they have the circles rather than the triangle cutouts. When I'm mounting the control arm on both ends, I can almost bend it by hand. So I'll probably get something a little more sturdy. But I'll put a link to these and maybe a sturdier set in the description. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. That would help me a whole ton. Feel free to share it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.